What is up, everybody? Cliff Ravenscraft here with another post-workout reflection from the front seat. And today, the question I have is our success holding us back from being creative? Is it possible that once you reach a certain level of success, it starts to hold you back from doing the things that you feel most called to do in this world? Today's vlog topic, this one right here, is inspired by my friend Dan Miller. Right after I got out of the gym, I was listening to the beginning of one of his recent podcast episodes, and in his episode, he shared a quote of the week, which he tends to do in his show, and it was a quote from Steve Jobs. And I want to actually play for you what Dan Miller, well, first of all, he'll share with you what Steve Jobs' quote was, and then the thoughts that he had. And I'm going to play that for you right now.
The quotation today is from Steve Jobs, who said, "I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life." I love that image, that description of what being fired did. The heaviness of being successful. Do you think that it's a challenge to be successful? When you ask somebody who's at the top of their game what they're doing to keep things going, whether it's running a company, being at the top of their game in selling, or being a great employee, whatever, the heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. Wow, isn't that an exciting spot to be, where you're a beginner again? Everything's a possibility. And he says it freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. Well, that's going to be our call to action today. I'll remind you that again at the end. What are you doing today to enter the most creative period of your life? Sometimes success prohibits us from being our most creative. Yeah, sometimes a little challenge forces us to be more creative.
So there you go. That's what Steve Jobs said, that he was thankful that he got fired from Apple, a company that he started. And he said that it was because of that, it freed him up. It gave him the lightness of starting over, starting something, beginning new. And I got to tell you, I can resonate with this. I don't know about the lightness of starting something new, at the lightness of being at the beginning of something, but I understand the invigoration of something new. I understand the actual pressure of needing to succeed. That for me is a key to creativity. You see, when I left my career in insurance, I had a very successful career. I was financially secure. I had more job security than you could ever possibly imagine. It was a family-run insurance agency owned by my mom and dad, started by my grandparents, and I was next in line to take the agency over. Could you imagine me owning a local insurance agency? But the thing is when I left that career in insurance, I had this pressure, this need to succeed, to do things, to tap into all of my resourcefulness, all of my creativity to make things happen. And of course, I'm talking about make things happen financially. And there's only one way to make things happen financially. I don't know if you guys know the key to success and generating income. It's adding value to other people's lives. And when you do that and you get these certificates of appreciation from people that you're adding value to, it is an awesome thing. And I loved that whole process of trying to figure that out. I stressed a lot in that first year. There was a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of worry. But at the same time, there was something that made me come fully alive. Something that says, you know what, this is tapping into everything that I am as a human being, and it's requiring all of me to make something work, to make something happen here. And as I moved forward in the building of this business, I got to the place where I had pretty much plateaued financially. I had achieved a level of success financially after a couple years where it's like, you know what? I'm making about the amount of money that I need. I don't really need anything more than this to just kind of get by. And I found myself plateauing. And I found myself doing the same thing over and over again. And for those of you who know my story, you know that there have been plenty of times where I've had significant streams of income that I completely shut down. So many different things that became predictable, that became, pretty much, they didn't require a lot for me to pull off anymore. And I found that I wasn't being as creative. And the most recent thing for me was podcasting A to Z. It was a 4-week training course. People were paying $2,000 per person, 20 to 25, sometimes 30 students at a time. And that was successfully selling out year after year after year. And it just got to be quite boring to me. It got to be the place where I was no longer being challenged. I was no longer being creative. In fact, my desire is to create content more than anything. And it was the consulting and the coaching and the teaching that I was doing through that course that I was using to generate all the money. And the reality is that was actually keeping me from being as creative as I wanted to be. And so, 9 months ago, or no, September of last year, oh my gosh, it's almost a year now. In 2 months, it's almost a year. I can't believe that. I've been calling it 6 months, but I guess I've been doing 6 months ago for like several months now. But almost a year ago, in September of last year, 2017, I shut down podcasting A to Z, completely said goodbye to it. Was not an easy decision. Those of you who watched from July through September of last year, it was a struggle to make that decision, but it was one of the greatest decisions I made because you know what? It forced me back into full-on creative mode. If I'm going to say goodbye to this stream of income that's guaranteed, and I'm going to say completely no more, I don't want to make any more money from teaching people how to podcast. I want to do something that taps into more of who I am as a person and where I feel called to go into the future. And so I launched new products, new services, a new focus for my coaching and mentoring, a new focus for my live workshops, a new focus for my podcast, a new focus for my vlog, a new focus for my mailing list. Everything that I'm doing is new, it's creative, and it's got me to the place where I'm fully alive once again. Over the last several months, over the last almost year now, I've been more alive than I have ever been before, even more than when I left my career in insurance, even more. And I put even more on the line, even more at risk. When I left my career in insurance, I left a career that was generating about $87,000 a year of income. And I put all of that at jeopardy, and I started this business. Last year, I shut down a $240,000 a year minimum stream of income. And then I shut down at least another, $30,000 a year, a stream of income of podcast equipment. So I shut down tons of income. But you know what? I'm more profitable now than I was before. Because why? Because why? That's great grammar. It's the not being guaranteed of success financially. I like the pursuit of what it is that I need to achieve in life. Yeah. So I get that part of it. I don't know if starting over and having the freshness and the lightness of getting rid of your prior successes and not resting on your prior successes, I don't know if it's a lightness as much as it is the invigoration of the need to be creative, to tap into that full expression of who you are. I need to be. It's not a lack of resources that keeps us from achieving our dreams in life. It's the lack of being resourceful. And so I realized that by relying on my prior successes, I no longer needed to tap into my resourcefulness. I no longer needed to tap into my creativity. I could just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And that 240,000 plus 30,000, that was, $270,000. That's $270,000 a year that, quite frankly, I could just rinse and repeat, and it would require very little from me. But it was not tapping into my creativity. In fact, it was keeping me from being creative. And now I'm more creative. And so I'm thankful that I got rid of all of that success, put it behind me, and said, you know what? I'm moving in a new direction. And the cool thing is my past successes lead in, and I carry with me all of the experience. I do carry with me a lot of that credibility. I carry with me about 40% of that audience. Yes, you heard me right. I lost about 60% of my audience when I shifted from the podcast answer man to Cliff Ravenscraft, the mindset answer man. The question I have for you is your success holding you back? Are you afraid to move into a new direction? Are you afraid to jump out and do something that's going to cause you to tap into your full ability to be resourceful in life? Are you afraid to do something that will require, easy for me to say, that will require all of you to make something happen? You know, I find the people that I've worked with, the ones that struggle the most are the ones who have the most to lose if they fail. But here's what I found. You know, people have seen this t-shirt before. This t-shirt, sometimes they only see the top of this. They see failure is not an option. And you know, people who have seen this in my vlog in the past, they see the shirt, they say, Cliff, I love your shirt. Oh my gosh, I love that saying, failure is not an option. And they walk away with the idea that failure is not an option. That's the attitude I develop in life. I'm never gonna fail, I'm gonna succeed no matter what. But I wanna show you something. It says here at the bottom, it's a requirement. Failure is not an option, it's a requirement. Failure is a requirement for greater success in life. You see, this shirt, it's all about weightlifting. It's all about strength training. When I go into the gym and I do biceps and I do triceps, chest and back and legs and shoulders and all that other stuff. I do my core workout. And when I go into the gym, what I do is I try to, whatever muscle group I'm working, I try to push that muscle till it fails, till it can no longer do anything more. Completely tear it apart. Muscle failure is not an option, it is a requirement if I want my muscles to grow. If I want my muscles to grow bigger, to grow stronger, then I have to take them to failure. Failure is not an option, it is a requirement. What I've learned is that failure in the past, in my business, things that I attempt and I fail, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I tried this, but I didn't get the results that I had hoped. Well, you know what? Every single time I've done that, I've grown stronger. I've grown more valuable as a person, and I've grown more valuable to other people. Why? Because every time I take an action and I do not get the result, call it failure if you will, but every time I take an action and I do not get the result that I had intended, I've learned something. I've grown as a person. I've learned things, I've got new distinctions of things that don't work, and it causes me to tap into my resourcefulness, my creativity, and it pulls me into a place where it's like, okay, what's the next thing that I can do? And I keep doing that over and over again. I keep failing and failing and failing, learning and learning and learning, growing and growing and growing. And every single time I become more valuable to everyone else, because when I grow, I have more to contribute to others. And contributing to others is how we add value to others. And adding value is how we generate income. And that's how we get those certificates of appreciation. So failure is not an option. It is a requirement. Failure is not an option. It's a requirement. And sometimes I think our success can hold us back. I think sometimes we need to do something that might fail. I think that sometimes we need to not rest on the things that we know that we can rinse and repeat over and over again. I'm not suggesting that you be irresponsible, that you completely just drop off things willy-nilly and put yourself into a financial situation where now you have to succeed and you put your family's financial future at risk. I'm not suggesting that for anyone else out there whatsoever. But I do know that Steve Jobs said that the best thing that ever happened to him was getting fired from Apple. And I think that's incredible, the way that he expressed how that really helped him to tap into his resourcefulness, that it fired up his creativity, a way to say, you know what, I've got to figure out a way. And when he came back to Apple, when Apple came back to him, guess what? He had grown through that process. For him, failure was not an option, it was a requirement. Apple, the Apple that we know today, needed Steve Jobs to get fired. Just saying. That's my thought of the day. Hey guys, I needed to break in here in this video. I was getting ready to publish this before I head out to the gym today on a Saturday. And I realized I didn't mention anything about the Free the Dream Conference in this video. And I want to let you know that there are only 47 days until Free the Dream Conference. It's coming up on September 7th, 8th, and 9th in Franklin, Tennessee. If any of the content that I've been speaking about here in my vlog, if any of it resonates with you at all, then I gotta tell you, you gotta come to the Free the Dream Conference. I can't begin to tell you the amazing insights that you will pick up at this event that will radically, profoundly change your life. You will look back on this weekend at Free the Dream and say, wow, that's when my life started to shift. That's when my life started to change. And I know this because I know exactly what it is that I personally will be teaching from the stage. And I also know what my friends Dan Miller, Ray Edwards, Daphne Scott, PJ Jonas, Aaron Walker, did I say Ray Edwards, Dan Miller, all of my speakers, Stephanie Ravenscraft, my wife, I know exactly what everyone is going to be teaching at this event. And if you just pull away one insight that could radically, profoundly change your life, it will be worth it. But it'll give you several insights, things that will just alter the way that you not just think, but what you believe about who you are and what you're able to achieve in this world. I look forward to seeing you at Free the Dream. Head over to freethedream.live, freethedream.live. Reserve your seat today. There's a special discount, by the way, until July 31st. You want to get in on it. Talk to you soon. Until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level.